Hey guys, Gail with Everything Nash here with Home Free, who we all know and love so much. All the things to talk about. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks for having us.
We have Austin and Tim here, and we're going to chat about a lot of things, starting with Land of the Free. Y'all, it does my heart so well to listen to these songs. Who had the idea? Talk me through the process of deciding to do Land of the Free.
That was a song that Tim wrote.
I think it was our manager first to do, sort of a patriotic album. But then from there, we took over with song selection and all that. Yeah.
When did you start having the idea? Was it before or after you guys recorded God Bless the USA?
It was actually after, and that probably was a catalyst for this whole project. Seeing the way that, the fans and even folks who didn't know who we were reacted to God Bless the USA. And we've had two versions of that go mega viral now. We released one a few years back that went great. And then the second time around, we got to work with the Lee Greenwood, as well as some of the singing sergeants from the Air Force. So it was a really special thing.
Well, when you did that, fun fact, we had just launched Everything Nash a couple days before, and within 2 hours, we had over 87,000 views on that story alone. It was insane. That song so resonated with people, I think probably because of what the world was dealing with in 2020.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome for all those views.
Thank you very much. The check is in the mail for y'all, by the way. So then how did we start piecing together the rest of the songs?
Yeah, I mean, everything we do in Home Free is a real democratic process. So, we just started throwing out ideas and voted on them, basically. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was a, Land of the Free Part 2 at some point, because we didn't get around to all the songs that we wanted to hit.
Okay. Do we have a favorite song, either of you, both of you, on Land of the Free song that is oh my gosh, this is the one that I had to have on there?
I mean, Tim wrote the title track, Land of the Free, and it's a song that ever since I first heard it, I've been wanting to do that song with Home Free. I heard it for the first time 10 years ago when I met Tim and Home Free and was like, this is incredible. But I think after that song, my favorite would definitely be My Country 'Tis of Thee, because it feels like such a contemporary and arrangement that I think everyone will love. No matter the age range, there's something about that song. That arrangement, Ben Bram arranged it, and it's transcendent, really. I think it's a really special song, and I cannot wait for the reception of that.
Who had the idea to gender flip Traveling Soldier? I thought it was beyond genius. Whose idea was that?
Should we just take credit for that, Austin?
I know, right? So that was our idea.
We actually had reached out to, this is the first project where we reached out to several different arrangers, because part of the message of this album is just unity and collaboration and accepting different ideas, as we have so many different, ideas and viewpoints and cultures here in America. So we wanted to really embody that during the creative process. So we reached out to some different arrangers to get involved. And one of those people was Deke Sharon, who is sort of considered the godfather of modern day a cappella music. If you have paid attention to anything that's gone on at the top tier of a cappella music the last 10 years, Pitch Perfect, The Sing Off, all those things, Deke Sharon is the driving force behind that. And so we reached out to him about arranging this song, and he actually came up with the idea to not only modernize the song, but flip the genders.
It just seems so perfect and so timely the way you cast that video too.
Yeah, and all that credit, of course, goes to the Bolo brothers, a very talented team of videographers with whom we've worked very frequent here in Nashville.
So can you give me the story real quick behind Land of the Free? Because Austin said you wrote that 10 years ago. And you guys never recorded it, or am I wrong?
I had recorded a solo version with instruments way back in the day, but it kind of got a limited release. And then, I was just sort of sitting on it for a decade. And luckily for me, Austin is the one that said, you guys, we should do this song of Tim's. And so we, handed it over to our producer, Darren Russ, to craft an all vocal version of it. And I'm thrilled with the way it turned out. And the music video is maybe one of the funnest videos we've ever shot.
It is. Let's talk about videos for a minute, boys. You guys do such a great job with videos, and you churn them out. They're like movies, and you churn them out week after week. How did that become such a defining thing for you guys?
Again, a lot of credit goes to our manager, but when we were coming off of the Sing Off, we were very aware that the spotlight of reality television fades very quickly. And so that was one of the few things that we had complete control over is, the type of media that we continue to release. And we saw the trends that were happening on YouTube and social media. And so we just decided to dive in and start aggressively releasing music videos in hopes that it would, keep the attention of the fans. And it worked.
Do you guys have a favorite video?
Ooh, I mean, Land of the Free right now, most recently at least. Because, those are all of our favorite videos, the ones where we just get to go outside and hang out and do country stuff together, And that's not an unusual choice.
Yeah. It's hard to choose, though, like when for Elvira, we got to just hang out in the studio with the Oak Ridge Boys. So it's hard to beat that. We shot How Great Thou Art in the Austrian Alps.
Yeah,
we shot Friends in Low Places on a beach in Grand Cayman. So it's really hard to choose a favorite.
Even shooting, God Bless the USA at Mount Rushmore. And then also getting a chance to shoot that again with Lee Greenwood. And he owned that song in a way that, I don't know if we'll ever do a collaboration again where the original artist outdoes himself in such magnanimous fashion. Like that track in particular we knew we had to put it on this record for that, fact alone of Lee Greenwood just really showing that, age can only make you better if you're really, a studied and intentional artist. His presence on that song is unlike anything that I could have imagined. I figured somebody who'd sung a song like that for years and years and years, it'd just be another day in the studio, but he really owned that moment and rose to the occasion. It means the world to him. And I really look up to him as a role model for how he, approaches that song still on just every day. It's like that song's a new song for him.
Yeah, I just got to speak to him last week or 2 weeks ago again, and he's also a really phenomenal human.
He sure is, and so well-spoken.
So well-spoken. I think what's great about you guys in the videos and your music is you can be super serious, like the Billy Gilman One Voice, which I thought was so great, but you're also not afraid to poke fun, even if it's at your expense sometimes.
Yeah, that's one thing that I appreciate about my bandmates is that, none of us take ourselves very seriously. And, we're everyone's in on the joke.
Yeah.
Right.
So how hard was it for you guys last year? Can you articulate when you realized that whole Dive Bar Saints tour is gone? You're not going to be on the road. You guys aren't even all in the same state, right? You guys are scattered. Can either of you articulate what that was like for you?
It was like whiplash. We were literally in the middle of a European tour, and we had to, cut it short. We had stayed up till 2 a.m., Europe time to see the presidential address. And, he said we were going to be, banning flights from Europe. So the first thing we did was get on the phone and say, Delta, get us home ASAP. And so it was very jarring, in a 24-hour period to go from being in the middle of a tour on the other side of the world to being on our couches in our homes, not really knowing if we could or should even leave our houses. It was one of the more jarring experiences I've ever had.
Austin?
Absolutely. Just like Tim said, we were we were up at 2 a.m. Nobody went to bed. We saw the address. I was at the airport with two of my bandmates at 4 a.m. and on a flight at 6, we just up and left from Munich to home in an instant. And we got home and it was one of those things that for a second, it was kind of a nice break. It was oh, this is kind of interesting. And then it was wait, are we going to get to go back on tour? And it went from this incredibly stressful experience to flash forward to right now. And it was almost like a really beautiful reset, because we get to go back on the road now, and we have a sense of value to that we never had before. Like, I hate to say we took it for granted, because I don't think we did, but it certainly is something that none of us ever thought could be taken away so immediately and so indefinitely.
There had to have been, like Tim said, some scary moments as artists, because that's your whole livelihood that's pretty much just wiped away.
Absolutely.
Well, not just that. I mean, because of the way we do record and release music videos, we're typically together about 80% of the year. So to go from that to not seeing each other in person for about a year and a half was really odd and unsettling for us.
So I might have shed a few tears. Okay, I totally shed a few tears. Your Opry performance, when you got to go back on stage. Not only did you get to perform again for the first time in, I think, 14 months. Am I right? About 14 months?
Yeah.
But it was at the most sacred stage, arguably, in the world. Can you talk me through what that felt like for you guys?
Well, I mean, it was a mixture of joy and maybe a touch of anxiety. There was no easing back into this performance thing. It went from not performing for a year and a half to performing on the most sacred stage in country music. Oh, and now there's cameras that broadcast to live television. So it was a little bit like, all right, let's hope we remember how to do this thing.
And you did. But it had to have felt just so surreal.
It did. And it felt like no time had passed at all in a lot of ways, because it was so much fun. And, we did a couple songs that we have done a million times, to like make sure that we just kind of went in there and had as little stress as possible and could really experience it as much as possible. And it was amazing. It felt like no time had passed. It felt like we were right where we belong. And I think personally, my favorite part of the whole experience was when we arrived there, and all the security and the sound guys, they remembered us, they know who we are, and they were happy to see us in a way that you could tell it wasn't just us that were glad to be back there. Everyone was just so happy, to have the opportunity to go to the Opry and do what we do at the Opry again. So it was one of those moments that I'll remember that moment, that first show back, for the rest of my life.
And now we're doing the Dive Bar Saints tour, and then we're doing the Christmas tour, and then we're going to Canada next year, which is kind of a bummer, but we're going back on the tour. Talk about that.
I'll be interested to see how Canada embraces our new project.
Right.
Fair. Oh, I didn't think of that. Fair. Okay.
No, it's all right. Honestly, those Canadian dates are still like us fulfilling, the Dive Bar Saints tour obligations we had. So we'll be playing catch up for a while now. But our fans have been so patient and understanding for the most part. And, everybody is missing live music, us included. So we're so excited to finally bring our show back to people who have been, desperately craving it for a couple of years now.
Let's talk about your fans for a minute. Okay, we have the home fries. We have the crazy fries. I'm sure we have some other fries too. Y'all, I have been doing this for 16 years. I've never seen an artist have so many fans as Home Free. Like, people, if I don't post something in 10 minutes, somebody's going to tweet to me about it.
Yeah, it's hard to be objective about it because that's all we know, but it certainly seems like it's a different level of engaged, and devoted, for sure.
They're really, like I said, I've never seen it. And they're also super kind people. I guess you kind of answered what I was going to ask, but are you guys aware that that's not common in music at all?
I mean, just like Tim said, I really, to hear you say that's not common surprises me, honestly, because, in a lot of ways, it's like these people treat us basically the home fries do the exact same thing that my immediate family does, my mom was always telling everybody and anybody. My dad sits down at the restaurant, any restaurant he goes to, and he's like, "This is my son," and then he plays it and holds the phone up for him, And it feels like the home fries are just extensions of our family.
Well, I think that
I'll say too, it's interesting because it's always surprising to me now how many people have never heard of the Sing Off. Because that was such a catalyst and such a catapult to international acclaim for us. But more people have discovered us since through our music videos and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people are getting involved via social media or through our Patreon campaign. And we really do have a hands-on interactive relationship with our fan base that I think a lot of bands don't bother with. And so we have crafted a different type of relationship with our fans. And it has paid off tenfold. So if there are any young artists watching right now, that's our advice. Like, interact with your fans, like actually establish a real relationship with them on and off stage, and they will champion you for life.
That's a really good point. And I don't know that I consider that angle, but you guys, they are your friends because you really take the time to interact with them.
Yeah. And I mean, they literally kept us afloat over the last year, honestly, via our Patreon campaign and, by purchasing and streaming our music and our videos. That is what kept Home Free afloat over this last year.
Yeah, that's awesome. Could you guys, either of you, have imagined when you guys started in Home Free or started your music career that this would be where you are? Did anybody ever envision this?
Lord, no, definitely not.
I mean, Austin's the dreamer of the band, so he may have seen a little bit of the potential. And
I mean, I wanted to be in a band my whole life. I've wanted to be in a band. Like people, when I was in high school and I was like the singer, at my high school, people would go, "Oh, you want to grow up and be a country music star?" And I was, no, I really don't. I mean, I want to be in a band. Like, I want to be in a band. That's all I really cared about. I want to be with a bunch of other dudes traveling around the country, like hanging out, doing things, and making great music. But I always loved a cappella music. And then this just happened so organically. It wasn't like I sought out their group or vice versa. We did a show. I was working on a cruise ship. And they saw my show. I saw their show. And that's kind of how everybody in the band fell into Home Free, one way or the other. And it just was something that was fun. And I took my initial job, where Home Free was just paying everybody peanuts, because I wanted to be in the band because it was fun, and then we just kept moving forward and did the next right thing for the band. And now here we are. And, I'm in a house that Home Free allowed me to buy, fortunately, before the pandemic, because I could have done that one afterwards, but it all worked out and everything happens for a reason. And our fans just continue to give because they want more music, and our success to any degree is their success in a really personal and tangible way, because they see the inside of my house on a daily basis through social media and in a Home Free music videos, So no, definitely never could I have ever imagined this, but in hindsight, man, it makes sense.
Tim, what do you have to say about that?
Well, I'll just add that what some people don't realize is that we were touring full time and supporting families, about 10 years ago, but it was very regional. It was like more around the Midwest, which is where Home Free started. So we had already made it. We were supporting families, and all we had to do was sing. So that is making it. Everything since then has just been icing on the cake, and it's certainly exceeded my wildest expectations. Of course, I hoped that we would get to a level where we could tour all over the world, but I never dreamed, that we would be members of the Country Music Association. I never, dreamed that we would be regulars on the Grand Ole Opry, that we would be collaborating with absolute country music icons. All of that is just mind-blowing, and I'm just buckled up and holding on for the ride.
Wow. Okay, so what's next for you guys? I know we have Land of the Free coming out. We have the Dive of Our Saints tour. We have the Christmas tour. Anything else coming up? I mean, that keeps you pretty busy.
Well, we're always recording. We're always releasing singles via our Patreon campaign and via music videos on YouTube. And many of those are songs that aren't on our albums. In fact, we're in the process right now, even though we have been recording a full album, we've simultaneously been recording singles outside of that album as well. And in fact, we're all getting together starting this weekend to shoot music videos for those singles. So like you said, we have an aggressive release schedule and we're not going to slow down anytime soon.
Will there be another Christmas album this year?
Oh my gosh. Not another Christmas album this year, but I think there might actually be a new Christmas single this year.
Collaboration or just home free?
We're thinking just home free right now, but you'd never know.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Austin.
We love to collaborate too. So if you're watching, hit us up.
Right. Exactly.
Any dream collaborations that you'd like? Anybody on your bucket list?
I mean, everybody, everybody, like we're real country music fans. So we look up to everybody in this industry. Me personally, we've gotten to work with, Kenny Rogers and Alabama now. And, the list goes on, Oak Ridge Boys. I mean, we know that Dolly Parton has at least heard, a pitch from us. And she was interested last year and she was like, maybe next year. Because she had a thing last year. So who knows? There's no validity to that. That's just like a hope. Ideally, we'd love to work with Dolly. One of my favorite artists in country music of all time is Travis Tritt. I'd really love a chance to get to work with him. I mean, there's
together with Little Big Town and just do 9 parts.
A choir. Yeah, absolutely.
That would be a choir.
Yep.
Okay, well, let me just go ahead and call them right now. Hang on.
Thank you.
Guys, it's really good to see you. And I'm just so grateful for all your success. And I love seeing good guys win,
Thank you so much. Well, thanks for having us. And thanks for everything you do for Home Free. You've introduced a lot of folks to our music and we really appreciate it.
Well, let's just keep talking then. It'll be a mutual thing. We just keep talking to each other.
Love it.
Y'all have a great day. Congrats on all the new music. And I hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you. And come out to the Ryman in December since it'll be in town. So
I'm bringing my husband. We're having a date night. It's already decided.
Yeah, boom. That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll have a little staycation downtown. We'll see.
All right.
Love it.
All right. Y'all have a good one. Thanks so much, guys.
Take care.